Please join me in welcoming Robin J.
Let me start by asking you a question. In the last 24 hours, who here was made to feel really special? I mean really special. A handwritten thank you note, a gift basket. Big show of hands. 2 of you. Okay. The reason I ask that is because the odds are if you're in sales or in any business, your clients are in the same boat. Nobody has gone out of their way to make them feel special. And it's really easy. And that's one of the underlying principles that I'm going to share with you tonight. Here's the bottom line on the Art of the Business Lunch. America spends about $4 billion every year training its salespeople. Isn't that just crazy? But the problem, the drawback is that like 3 to 6 months later, a year later, there is no sign of significant increase. People get all, I call them rah-rah speakers. You get all excited and, tomorrow you're going to go make a change and nothing changes. It's just exactly the same. So when you build better relationships, what happens is you build a bigger customer base and then you bring in new people and eventually your business just expands and grows exponentially. So this is what we're going to talk about. One of the best ways to do it. My first book was The Art of the Business Lunch, Building Relationships Between 12 and 2. That came about because I had hosted more than 3,000 client lunches. I saw my sales increase by more than 2,000% as a result of this. So this is something that you can do. Everybody can do it. It's not. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, about how you can write a book that it will define you as an expert, even if it's a little pocket book or a white paper or you write a blog, things that you can do to define yourself as an expert to your clients. The reason why it's so important to build relationships is simple. People prefer to do business with people they like. Isn't that true? Yes. Let me ask you something. Do you have maybe an Italian restaurant, maybe a dry cleaner, a business right near your home, maybe a drugstore, and yet you get in your car and you drive 10, 15, 20 miles away because you prefer how they treat you at the other location better, the less convenient location? Everybody, show of hands. We've all done it for something. Well, your clients are in the same boat, and the people you're dealing with are in the same boat as well. They have choices. If they don't like you, they can choose to work with someone else. Why would you do business with someone you don't enjoy doing business with? It doesn't even make sense. I wanted to share that with you because the reason I was able to do it is through the skills I've acquired as a business relationship expert. And I can assure you, by the time you leave here this evening, by the time you're done with this program, you too can be a business relationship expert. Nothing I'm going to share with you is anything you won't be able to execute yourselves, okay? Let me tell you how powerful the business lunch is. When I started speaking about the Art of the Business Lunch, I heard from some people, Robin, we're not allowed to take our clients to lunch. And they said, we're not. There's a rule against it. I found out that a lot of big business and government agencies and certain companies actually have rules against their buyers going to lunch with vendors. You know why? Because they're so afraid that it will create such a prejudicial relationship that their buyers will buy their friends instead of what's in the best interest of the company. Now, hopefully, that's not the case, that what they're buying, even if you are their friend, is what they should be buying for the company. But imagine this, if it's such a successful method for building relationships and you're allowed to do it, not doing it is a crime, right? I wanted to share a few tips that I've discovered as an entrepreneur that I wish I had known when I was in sales. Entrepreneurs think differently, and it's been an evolution over the last 10 or 12 years that I've come across some of these techniques and tips for defining yourself as an expert and building even better relationships. Because everything I've done has come from the relationships I've been able to build. So he said, how many of you are under 20? No one raised their hands. How many of you are under 30? No one raised their hands. How many of you are under 40? No one raised their hands. And he said, okay, forget about Facebook, forget about Twitter. And the collective sigh of relief was so loud. Oh, thank goodness we can do social media and we don't have to do all that stuff we've been hearing about. What he encouraged them to do, because everybody got a website from their parent company, he encouraged them write a blog. And again, keep in mind that your clients are going to see this, so keep it clean. And you can post pictures like of a company barbecue or something you did with your clients. I've gotten very good at, when I'm out with people, oh, here, take a picture of us. And then I can Here's the thing, never just accept. Always take a quick moment and say, thank you for connecting with me. You know why? Because you're going to get to know someone a little better. This girl connected with me on Facebook, and I looked, and she's from the Cleveland area. I'm from the Cleveland area. She was about my age, so I emailed her back. I said, thanks for connecting. Did we go to school together? She said, no, but you went to school with my sister Lydia. Anyway, she ended up introducing me to Lisa Ryan, who ended up being one of the experts in my movie. So this is what I'm talking about, taking your relationships to a higher level, taking advantage of the cloud, taking advantage of all the social media that you have. Things like lack of knowledge, cash flow, not enough cash flow to keep your business going. We have leadership. A lack of leadership is probably one of the #1 reasons why businesses go under. And sometimes it's just plain stupidity. You know, I watched HGTV the other day. This woman was buying a farm in Chile, and she'd never had a farm before. And she was going to spend $300,000, and she didn't know the first thing about farming, and the real estate agent says, well, you're going to want some water on your property. She was like, oh, yeah, I bet. I'm like, why would you do something you wouldn't go fly an airplane without taking flying lessons, right? So get the help you need, especially if you're doing something different. This amazes me that Circuit City went out of business, because when I drive by Best Buy, it looks like they're filming a commercial. 100 people walking into Best Buy, no matter what the economy is doing, and everybody coming out has a big old package, or they're parking their SUV to load up the big screen TV in the back. Now, how come one store succeeded and the other one didn't? How about Hostess? You know, Twinkies went by the wayside. I think they're back now. But you know what happened while Twinkies were by the wayside? Our friend Sara Lee stepped in and started making snack cakes. The market was there. Someone at Sara Lee had their thinking cap on. Wouldn't you have loved to have been at that meeting? Hey, I got an idea. Hostess, stop making Twinkies. Why don't we make them? We have a bakery. We have packaging plants. We have distribution and marketing. Brilliant. Isn't it brilliant? When we work with a mentor, we retain 89%. 89% of what we learned. And the reason is because a mentor will tell you what to do, show you how to do it with you, and then have you do it. And that 4-part process is how we learn. It's how we really learn. The key to business lunch success is, how many scouts did we have? How many Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts? Okay, what's the motto? Be prepared. Be prepared, exactly. And that's all it takes. By the time you leave here, you will be a business lunch expert. And keep a backup. Put a pair of black pants that you don't wear anymore in the trunk of your car. Ladies, guys, a tie, one of those Teflon ties that won't stain. How about a clean shirt? Put it in your trunk, put it in your office. It's not a question of if you're going to ruin it. Stockings, a spare pair of pants. And that is one story that I hear from people all the time. They say, Robin, you're not going to believe this. I was getting out of my car and my skirt just went. I said, so you had your spare pair of black pants in the trunk, didn't you? No, but I remembered you talking about it. So you want to make sure. One of the account executives said that she had this terrible cold. She was calling on a car dealer, and she put the contract in front of him on his desk. She's leaning over his shoulder, and as she's showing him where to sign, her nose dripped right on the signature line. And I said, oh my gosh, what did you do? She says, I went and handed him the pen. And he signed it. But you know, sometimes you won't recover. They might get sick. Okay, one of the biggest challenges to getting someone out to lunch that I've encountered since I've become the queen of the business lunch is, how do you get the first lunch date with someone who won't even return your phone calls? Have we all been there? Okay, I have 4 methods that I've discovered over the years that will work. One of these 4 will work. The first is an introduction. If I say, Paul, I want to meet the guy who's in charge of the big insurance company here in Novi. You know him, you're friends with him. Could we go to lunch? My treat. Would you have a problem saying, not at all. Let's go to a really nice restaurant. I just want to get to know him. You have an introduction, you're there. So it's so easy to build this kind of outstanding relationship just by putting yourself out a little bit. Wine list. I had a client in Chicago who said, did you see my guy when you were telling him how to order wine when you're out with clients? He was freaking out. He turned in a receipt last week for $1,000 for a client dinner. I said, how many people? He said, 2. yes, we'll have the Opus One. And of course, the server comes by and says, how about another bottle, folks? You go, oh, absolutely. Yes, I want that. It's just, you never give up control. Here is how you order wine when you're out with clients. And I actually had this featured in Chicken Soup for the Wine Lover's Soul, which usually those. Marty is a mover and a shaker in Las Vegas. And he told me about this time he was looking at doing a business deal with some of his associates. And they chose the restaurant. They were in LA, the business was in LA. He flew down there, rented a limousine. The car pulls up to the valet, and he went in, and he schmoozed with everybody in the restaurant. Right as they just opened, like 11:30. He had a wad of 20s. He tipped the maitre d', the host, gave Bobby at the bar $40 to send over a round of drinks, gave Shirley a 20, not here with me, tipped the bar boy or the bus boy, told him about his dog, goes back out and sits in the limousine and waits for these guys to pull up. Pulls up again, his driver lets him out of the car. Hey guys, how you doing? They all walk into the restaurant together and the maitre d' says, Marty, I haven't seen you in so long. So Shirley's waiting for you, we have your favorite table. Takes them all back. These guys are like, they chose the restaurant. Marty's owning it, right? So they get seated at their table. Pretty soon, Billy the busboy comes by to fill their water glasses. Hey, Marty, how's that dog Sadie doing? He goes, oh, Sadie's great. Pretty soon, Shirley the waitress comes by and says, Marty, is your beautiful wife Lynette with you here today? He says, no, she's at home. This is just a business trip. Pretty soon, Bobby sends over a round of drinks for the whole table. They are amazed. Who is this Marty guy and how does he own this restaurant? And he said that on the way out, when they were done, they immediately moved into negotiations. Apparently, these guys were reluctant to get into business with Marty because the business was based in LA, and they were afraid he'd be like a fish out of water. And he just so owned this restaurant, planning ahead, being prepared. You can go to any restaurant, and I'll tell you what, servers in restaurants love a good scheme. They will help you, you know, like guys proposing and putting the diamond ring in the chocolate mousse, bad idea. Or in the glass of champagne. But you know, they love to collaborate with you. They will be your best helper. So, and that's why it pays too to go to a great restaurant for a business lunch consistently. So as you go out and you call on people and you sell them and you network with them and you build your own business and you follow your passion and your dream, go out and make a difference. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
There you go. Talk to me from the heart. What did you think of Robin J?
I absolutely love her. She's electrifying, she's interesting, engaging. She really puts her ideas out there that I can understand them.
How would you describe her, like her stage presence, her personality, if you were telling someone about her?
I would say that she's very relatable. So everything that she says, I can, all of her words, I can kind of, relate to something in my personal life. She's very energetic, so I like that too. It keeps me awake.
For the camera, your name?
Amy.
What do you think of Robin J?
I think Robin J is an amazing person. I think the information that she was able to give everybody tonight so far, it's the first time I've come to one of these seminars, is fabulous. It's right on the mark. Really walk out of here a little more energized from listening to her with some new ideas on how to tackle all the issues in life, which we all have many, many of them. So very good.
For the camera, your name?
Joe Pullen.
What did you think of Robin J, really?
She's exceptional. She knows her stuff. She's giving it to us nice and easy, but it's powerful to help us enhance and improve our lives. I'm glad I came. She's awesome.
For the camera, your name?
Eddie Robinson.
I'm so glad that I was able to come and hear Robin J today. She is an amazing speaker with all kinds of background, a best-selling author, and she has so many wonderful things to tell us about the keys of success. So I've really enjoyed hearing her. She really has some practical ways to apply her knowledge in relationships and practical things that you can do. We can all do the things that she suggested.
For the camera, your name?
Deb Potts.
But she's got a real message that everybody can use. Everybody, doesn't matter whether you're selling, buying, or whatever. Business people, consumers, everybody can use what she's speaking. It's a great speaker.